Hi, friends. Welcome to Lotus in the Light. My name's Jennifer. Thanks for joining. If you found your way here, then I think there's a message for you here about things that you might be clinging to in your life, because that's what I felt called to share. It's kind of a funny story. This message popped into my head earlier. Excuse me, this idea popped into my head earlier. I was working, so I couldn't act on it right away. So I thought, well, I'll jot it down so I don't forget later, and then I'll come and record. So I came in here to sit down to record a little earlier. I opened my phone. I'm like, okay, what was it? Oh, okay. Don't cling too tightly to anything. That was my message. Don't cling tight to anything. That's what I said. Don't cling tight to anything. So I read that. I'm like, okay, great. So I turned my phone off. And then all of a sudden, the notification dings. It was my husband coming in the door, so it was the Ring app on the notification, but I still had my phone in my hand, so I swiped that away. And then the next thing I look, and in this moment, while all this is happening, because I had just read that statement about not clinging to anything, the song, the 38 special song popped in my head. Hold on loosely, don't let it go. And so I was like singing that in my head, and then I was getting ready to sing uh you're gonna, or you need to lose it all. Is that what it is? Or you need to lose control or whatever. But that line, and right then I swiped away the Ring app notification, and the next notification was from my YouTube, and it said, "You need to lose it all." You need to lose it all. And it was a notification for an Abraham Hicks video, which if you don't follow Abraham Hicks, you should. And so that was just spirit confirming for me that you need to give this message. So I'm doing it. Okay. So talking about clinging to things, what we might cling to, why we might cling to them, what we need to do about that. And I have a personal story to share with you. That's what I feel called to do, is share a personal experience this year. I've been going through transformation for so many, we're all transforming all the time, whether we know it and we're doing it intentionally or not. But I can say I have let go of lots of things in my life. I've preached sermons about it when I was a minister in the Christian church, for example. So it's a deeply rooted concept for me already. But I had a crazy experience this year that I never thought I would have, that I feel like is what Spirit wants me to share. So let's open up together. Let's take a deep breath. We're asking Spirit of Divine Love and Light to come forth with a message for us. Let's visualize a flower blooming open from our heart space. Divine, pure, white light, healing light, loving light, guiding light pours from within, opens our heart, opens our ears, opens our eyes spiritually to tap into the message that is given for us today. We are thankful for that message, Spirit. Okay, let's dive in. All right. Do I want to start with a card, or do I want to start with a story? I'll start with a card. So this message, while I'm getting out the Spirit Animal Oracle. Uh, and just asking Spirit to guide this message with a card that is most appropriate for this message about clinging to things. um, Listen, clinging is a symptom. What are you clinging to in life? What is something that you would not give up, could not give up, would never even consider it? And that's the very thing that is probably creating a barrier between you and God. Even if it's something that you think, ooh, I'm having feelings right now. There's an energy. Let me tap into that. I think this is the card. What is this? We just got this card the other day, didn't we? Spirit has a plan. Or maybe I did personally. Actually, I think it was. Spirit has a plan. Okay. How apropos for a message on not clinging to things, right? Because Spirit has a plan. Okay, I'm going to set this down for a second and get myself organized, because I want to try to tap into It's having a sensation that some of you are clinging to something that is bringing you a great sense of anxiety. Um, so I'll say this. Most of the things that we're clinging to um, is less about the thing and more about some belief we have that that thing is tied to. So whether it's a belief about a relationship, or whether it's you're clinging to a relationship or you're clinging to money, which is really just about beliefs and what your beliefs are about money, or time, what your beliefs are about your time, what your beliefs are about um, your role in a relationship, what your beliefs are about God, what your beliefs are about yourself. Like it all comes back to a belief. So I feel like for many of you right now, there is an energy of angst about something that you're clinging to. And interestingly, I think it was today's scripture that like daily scripture that popped up on my phone from the Bible app was Philippians 4:6, which is do not, I'll get the words wrong, but do not be anxious for anything. I don't have it up yet, but do not be anxious for anything, but with prayer and petition um, or prayer and thanksgiving. Oh, sorry, I'm getting this wrong. But by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, is what the scripture was. Do not be anxious about anything. So, see how it all ties together. So, I was inspired to talk about clinging to things. The scripture of the day was about not being anxious about things, and the sense that Spirit is giving me is that whatever it is you're clinging to, you are presently anxious about. So, it's definitely something that you're working through. So, the message of Koala Spirit is just simply Spirit has a plan. So it's really about trust. So when you're feeling anxious about something, that negative emotion, what we would perceive to be a negative emotion, is indicating to us that we are somehow out of alignment with spirit, with our soul, with that connection to the divine. Okay. That's just letting us know. So, whatever that topic is that you might be praying about that's bringing you angst, um, to shift back into alignment means we've got to quiet this, open this, and figure out what we're really feeling about it, what we're really believing about it. So I'm going to give you an example of something that I was clinging to that I had to let go of. And again, over my life, many things I've had to let go of in order to further my spiritual journey. The one this year was a big one. And I'm just going to, spoiler alert, it was my marriage. I had to stop clinging to my marriage, to that relationship. And I'll tell you why. So over the course of I've been married we're going on 28 years of marriage. For 28 years, for the 30 years we've been together, at our spiritual journey, we've grown spiritually throughout that time too. So it was very different early on. And then, but where we kind of landed was like, this is a relationship, a partnership. We're not going to do something that both aren't agreeing to, right? Like that's typical for marriage, right? But I've been like career wise, done a lot of different things. I've jumped all over the place and kind of dragged my husband along. um, and he's always been a good supporter of the choices that I've made. But many, many times I've prayed about things and said, God, if this is really for me, if this is really where you're leading me, then you have to bring Willie along because I don't want to manipulate him into or try to convince him to do this. Like either bring him along or this, I'm going to take it as a sign that this isn't the path for me. And that's kind of how I approached decisions in the past. So this year I start feeling this tug to go in this direction. And, but something's different now. So in years past, my belief always was that it was God's will that our marriage stay together. And that is why it was so easy to cling to. If he's not on board, it's a sign that it's not for us, right? Now, my perspective has changed on that pretty drastically. And some people are thinking, what do you mean? You don't think it's God's will that you stay together? I mean, God is about divine love, but what's changed is that I believe not only is our marriage is divine, but sorry, our marriage is sacred, but all relationships are sacred. Our relationships with everybody, everything with nature, like it's all sacred. So I'm not discounting the importance and value of marriage, just elevating everything else up to it. But marriages are special. They're a very special bond and commitment. Um, but what I believe more now is that relationships in general in our life are serve a purpose. And when it's no longer mutually beneficial for two people, when it's no longer supporting them in a positive way and on their journey, then that's, maybe not maybe, that's the time that that relationship should end. Again, whether that's a marriage or a friendship or a work relationship or, whatever that means, like when it's no longer serving your highest and best good, then it's only hurting you at that point. It's only holding you back in your journey. So, and I believe that there was a time that the covenant of marriage lasting a lifetime was super important because in society, it was a protection for women who couldn't own property, who couldn't, own businesses. And conversely, it was a protection for then the men in that patriarchal society to a support to the men to have somebody at home tending to the children. It ensured procreation. Like there was all kinds of reasons why a marital contract like that a marriage would be binding for life. Because it was for the benefit of all the parties involved, right? But that's not the society we live in anymore. And so I don't believe that was a command of God. It was just what was necessary to ensure survival, things like that, right? So now we're in a different place, and now we're a little bit more evolved, enlightened, and we're a little bit more mature about, times when relationships are just no longer serving a positive purpose in your life, and just being able to recognize that and let go of those. So anyway, now that I have that new understanding in my life, I realized that there could come a time when a marriage could end that you didn't see coming, right? That and again, I'm not looking for my marriage to end. So what happened was I was in this moment where I feel called to something that I'm like, I'm not sure that Willie would be on board with this. I'm not sure that Willie would want to go in this direction. I'm not sure that like he's a vibrational match for this direction. I'm not sure, or maybe even if he is, I'm not sure that, what if it calls me away to live somewhere else? What if it calls me to do, all these things are going through my mind. I'm like, that historically would have been like, okay, Willie, let's talk about this and see if we want to move forward together. But in this moment, I'm like, okay, I feel like this is the direction I am supposed to move. I now also have a different perspective about where what I want ranks in my priority. So again, part of my faith journey taught me that I take second seat, third seat, fourth seat. It's God, spouse, children, and then everything else, right? And so I didn't even rank in there. And now I understand that we are all God in human form, right? We are all a manifestation of God, is what we are. We're a human incarnation of God. And so when we put God first, we have to put ourselves first. We have to put our own self care first. We have to put our own. I am no service to anybody if my light is dim, if my vibration is low. I I'm no good to anybody else. So when we put God first, we are equal to that. We are up there with God. When we are putting God first, it means we are taking care of ourselves because when we're connected to Spirit, Spirit is ensuring that we are taking care of ourselves, right? So now that I understand that, it's like, if this is where I'm being called, then I apologize. I think there's like somebody. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna roll with it. Okay, I don't know what that is. Um, anyway, I'm losing track. So anyway, I have come to this conclusion that I'm being called in a direction. I want to honor that, but I'm concerned about what that means for my marriage. And now that I don't have necessarily the belief system I used to have that said, if it's God's will, your spouse is going to come along. And I'm thinking, what if I say I need to do this and my spouse says I'm not doing that? Then what? My marriage ends? And like, I was really scared about that. I love my husband. I don't want my marriage to end. And I was literally at a crossroads like, am I really going to put my marriage on the line? And then on the flip side, I'm like, or am I really going to tell spirit no? Like tell God, no, I'm not going to go on the path that's my highest and best path. Like both of those options felt really shitty. I'm like, I don't like this. I was clinging to that marriage. I was clinging to that relationship and I was making it a priority above my own spiritual journey, above my own relationship with God. And it wasn't until I finally said, I have to be willing to let this go and trust. It wasn't that I didn't care enough about my marriage to make sure that it was safe in this. It was that I cared enough to know that I trusted spirit enough to know that if I stepped out in faith and for some reason it ended my marriage, that that was actually what was best for both of us. Because I don't know if you've ever been in a relationship where you're not in the same place. Maybe you're different vibrational levels. Maybe one's really positive and one's really negative. Or maybe you have different ambitions and like one of you wants to live in the country, one wants to live in the city, or one wants to move out of state and one wants to stay, one wants kids and one doesn't. That becomes toxic really fast. Like it's okay to just admit that like we want different things. And for that reason, it serves us both better to split. We helped each other, we served a need and fulfilled a need for each other for a season, and that season's over. For everything, there is a season, right? Um, and so I had to just let it go. I had to let go and let God and trust. And I did. And I will tell you that since that time, we already had a solid marriage and now it's even better. We have, I don't know, releasing that pressure and letting that go and just saying whatever's supposed to be will be has just, it has lightened the load on me. It has allowed me to be freer and more open with him than, and again, we've been together for 30 years. I'm pretty open. Anybody that knows me knows I'm open. But it's just changed the dynamic even more. I didn't even think it could get even better, but it did. So that's the message. Whatever you're clinging to is the thing that's standing between you and that next step in your relationship with spirit. It's what's standing between you and that next relationship, that next deeper level relationship with you, with your authentic self, with God. And it's also what's standing between you and whatever it is you're clinging to. What I mean is, whatever that relationship you have with that thing that's causing you to cling to it, you're clinging to it out of fear. You're clinging to it because there's some gap in your trust in your relationship with God about that thing. And you're clinging to it because there's something you're believing about that thing that probably isn't true. Okay. So, and what that's doing then is creating a misalignment to that thing. Um, and actually making it more difficult for there to be peace and, uh, sorry, I want to get the right words here. Spirit's pinging me too. So there's something here. I just got to get the right words. There's just a misalignment between you and whatever that thing is that can be corrected when you invite spirit in. So spirit is going to create the chiropractic adjustment that is going to bring you, spirit, and that thing all into alignment if you trust. And that actually comes back to that scripture. Wow, thanks, Spirit, for really segueing this. So that Philippians 6 scripture, do not be anxious about anything, The do not be anxious about anything, when you go back to the original root translation, that do not be anxious phrase is about do not be divided in mind. You've got to bring this in alignment with this. You've got to tell your mind, thank you for your intellect, for your logic, for all these tools that you provide that serve me, but that can't be my guiding light. This has to be my guiding light. And then you support this. Your head, your intellect supports the guiding direction of the heart, and the heart is what tunes into spirit. Get all of that aligned. Let's do one more closing card. So remember, spirit has a plan, but you got to stop clinging. And I think I'm just going to keep with the spirit animal oracle for the next card. Okay, let's see what comes out to close this up and put a nice little bow on it. Uh-oh, something fell out. Transformation is beautiful. I love this. Butterflies have been very prominent lately. We are in like an astrological time of transformation. And so butterflies have been very prominent. Oh my gosh. And it's the number 11. That is a master number. Number 11, master number. It is about internal transformation. It's also, it's just a real strong message from God that's about you internally. This is about internal transformation. Butterfly spirit. Transformation is beautiful. Think about this. A butterfly, when you think about what that starts out as a caterpillar, nobody, who would ever look at a caterpillar and think it would turn into this? Nobody. Who would ever look at an acorn and think it would turn into a tree? Nobody, right? That is the power of transformation. That is the beauty of transformation. But there's things that you have to let go of to be set free, to experience that transformation, so that you can experience the plan that Spirit has. And trust me, there is no plan that you could put into action of your own intellect, that will be superior to any plan that God has for you. None. I guarantee it. I promise it. So the transformation is ready. It's happening for you. It's happening because it's time to happen. So you're watching this video because there's something that isn't sitting right with you. There's something that you are clinging to, but you're feeling anxious about, that you're submitting to God in prayer, that God is saying, trust me, I have a plan. And with that plan, you will transform. And when you let go of whatever it is you're clinging to, I promise you that one of two things is going to happen. God's going to give it back to you in better alignment than it's in now, or God is going to give you something better. And when I say God, remember, God is in here. So you're attracting it. The divine works through the law of attraction. You will attract once you open up your heart and you release the release the grip that you have on whatever that thing is, and it stops becoming a barrier between you and your connection. You start attracting everything you could want and need about that situation. So get out of your own way so that transformation may take place. Listen, I literally coined this the other day. I said, you know what? I'm always thinking, what's my greatest gift? Because, there's some people that are like super talented musicians and painters and this and that. And other than Excel spreadsheets, I'll give myself that. I'm good at those. I said, my superpower is transformation. I am a superwoman of transformation. I've been doing it my entire life intentionally. We all transform all the time, our whole life, but most of us aren't doing it intentionally. I am. So I think I would vote that you get on that bandwagon because it is amazing. And with that, I will leave it right there. I love you all. Peace out. I hope you have a blessed week.